Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Castles, Cantrips and Conniptions podcast. My name is Edward.
Hi there. And I'm Evan.
And in our podcast we talk about all things fantasy, namely Dungeons and Dragons. We talk about movies, we talk about video games, all sorts of stuff like that. And we also talk about stuff we've done in our private lives, and about our hobbies and stuff like that. So if you're interested in any of that, make sure to stick around. So,
yes, absolutely.
You want to get started with the sort of regular book review type of thing that we do at the start of the episode.
Yeah, the recurring segment.
Yes, the recurring segment. We need like an intro song for it as well.
Welcome to the book review. I'm not going to sing anymore.
Yes, do it now. If we ever make a Patreon, I'll make you sing the entire song as a high tier
That
reward.
will never happen, so don't look forward to it, just to put it that way.
I'll record him somehow. What?
Anyway, so I have a lot of custom Kickstarter books that can be used with Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, because there are a lot of people and companies, they have their own view, their own things that they like to have to run a D&D campaign with, so they just make their own. And Wizards of the Coast allows their names and their game system that they created to be used freely by other companies, so they can make their own supplement for Dungeons and Dragons. So I have a bunch of those books, so every week we go through one of these books, and this week I have a book called Remarkable Shops and Their Wares.
Oh, okay, sounds cool.
It's a book by Loresmith. Loresmith has done more books in the past. I have one other of them, but they do a lot of. They have been part of the D&D community for quite some time, making these different types of books that elevate a D&D story or adventure or even an entire campaign.
Alright, cool.
So what this book is all about is creating shops and stores to populate your world with. And even it has options for a player-operated store, as they put it.
Oh, hell yeah. I've always wanted to do that somehow, run my own store or tavern.
Yeah. So they have this, to start off, they have their own stores, so you can pick a store that they created, unique. It's really unique and diverse in both.
So not like just basic like wood carvers, but there's some really unique stuff as well.
Yes, like I think.
Could you give an example?
Yeah, they have 8 of these custom stores that they created themselves, and one of them that is quite appealing to me is called the Undersea Archive. So,
okay, that's strange.
Do you know the shot from Star Wars The Phantom Menace? I know it's not the most well received movie, but there is this section where you have this underwater city that Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan, the Gungan City.
Yeah, the Gungan City. Yeah. Yes.
So it looks a bit like that. They have some artwork for it. So it's like these big spheres, these orbs that are see-through.
My orb.
Underneath the ocean. And you can see the city inside. And this is just like one of the stores of that sells knowledge and lore.
Okay.
But
that's interesting.
Also memories. Yeah.
Ooh.
So they sell or trade with memories of people that came across this city or that wanted to share their their findings in the shape of memories, like bottled memories.
Oh, that's super cool. And then you can like buy the memories and look at them
and relive them or somewhat.
Okay.
So that's the type of unique stuff that you can expect in this book. And there's like tons more. There's like a flying ship.
Oh, nice.
So it's quite funny because usually a store is just a place to get stuff in a D&D adventure, in a campaign.
Yeah.
Just
sort of like a tavern as well.
Yeah.
It's just a place to go.
Yeah, it's just always there. If there's a town or a city, there's a bunch of different shops you can go to. Usually they consist of like bookshops. Is one that gets regularly used in at least my campaigns. But never like something unexpected. Like you're on the way to some town, and you just come across like this horse and wagon, but the wagon is actually a store. Like it immediately catches the player's attention because they can buy something, and if they're going to buy something from like a shop like this unique, then there's definitely going to be some stuff in there that they've never heard about, and it's immediately an interesting part of the adventure and quite memorable, because it's not just a place where they do stuff. They can actually get stuff to be used at a later point, and it's always stuff that's quite unique.
Yeah, and they can like remember the store they bought it from when they use the item.
Yeah, like do you remember like that one bookstore that you at some point went to in this city?
I do remember, actually. I do remember one store that I went to. I think it was in your Avalon campaign, and it was we were getting a gauge to trap a ghoul inside of.
Right.
And I went to a woodworker store, and there was this gnome, and I thought it was real nice. He was real nice and funny, but my character's a dick.
Okay.
So he just started harassing the poor old man, but he was a really nice dude. So I still remember him for some reason. He was kind of nice, and then I think we were like, you need to make this for us, and then he was like, I can do that within a day, and then I'm like, do it now, and he was like, no, I have other orders, and I threatened him and stuff. Poor guy, but it was funny, and I think it was a pretty fun encounter.
Yeah, that I do remember now that you mention it. Like that was quite funny because I tried to barter with you. Like this guy, he is quite well established woodworker. So he had a lot of projects he was working on. So then just this guy comes around and demands like a cage to be made specifically.
I'm a Karen.
For something.
I demand to speak to the manager.
Yeah, and he's like, well, I can't do that. Well, I can, but it will cost you extra. And you just threatened him. So you eventually did get your way, but I think it did cost a little more than you were hoping for.
I think it did. That's alright, but it was a really fun like shop encounter, especially since it was like different from. You don't always do this, but I think it's for every DM. It's really easy to kind of fall back into the grumpy shop owner, NPC.
Yeah.
And you're usually pretty good with not avoiding that, but I don't know. He was so nice that I remember him so fondly that I was being total ass to him. If I had any other character, I would have been best mates with him.
Right.
But yeah, it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
And now true. Jonas is dead. R.I.P.
Rip karma.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I did a lot of nasty stuff with that character. I deserve it, every ounce of it.
Yep.
I think I got out easy.
Well, it was quite brutal still. But but you didn't suffer at least.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, these shops, they're usually quite forgettable, and a DM usually has to imagine these on the fly. Like if the character, I want to go buy some weapons, and you didn't imagine like this a fully fledged store in this town village. So you need to think of an NPC to run the store. You need to think of all the stuff that's there, how it looks. Yeah, go ahead.
I have first of all, I And when I write like a homebrew a town or city, I always homebrew at least 2 taverns, a smith, and a general store. And then I very basic, just the name, the size of the building, the general atmosphere, and then the NPC inside, like the merchant.
Right.
That only takes like 10 minutes maybe per store, but then you always have some sort of basis to work on. And what I also do is a trick I used in a last game of mine, which is actually kind of funny to talk about, but I'll save that for another episode. I had to come up with a merchant on the fly, and what I did was like, okay, she sells fruit and vegetables, and then all of a sudden I hear in the back of my mind, fresh fruits and vegetables for sale, and I'm like, oh god, no, Camilla from Skyrim, the NPC in Whiterun, she sells, and I just made her Camilla, because I know that character, and I've heard her 1,000 times, so... yeah, if you have to like think of it on the spot, just think like, okay, what does she sell, and have I ever seen a video game or like a movie or something where that type of merchant merchant was in, then just use that character, that's fine.
Right.
I mean, it's just a fruit merchant, it's not like this important character, you don't have to be original, just have to have an answer.
Yeah, it was just something to work with, or something that the players recognize as like an established character already.
Yeah, and with like the tavern that I wrote, the Drunken Jeweler, I did work out 3 NPCs inside, and then the tavern owner a bit more, just to there were new players, so I had to impress them, of course.
Yeah. Well, the new players are always impressed by anything.
That's true. But I decided to really get to work, and I wrote like 6 pages of just stuff for the session, which for me is a lot, because I only write like 2 maybe. So yeah, that was kind of new for me, but it worked out, and I think it was really nice to play the characters, like to play the NPCs.
Right, yeah.
And yeah,
you're quite good at running NPCs.
Yeah, and then I ran a combat and it was messy as fuck, but because stats, and I hate stats, yeah.
Right. Well,
I'm just saying, we should go DM. I'll do the NPCs and the characters, you do the stats, we'll be fine.
Yeah, at some point when we have a good campaign going with a dedicated group.
Yeah.
Then that's definitely something
I hope to achieve that in the coming months. Somewhere around like the end of May, maybe.
Let's hope
I think
so.
by that time, I want to start. And Convergence, play that campaign. Ooh, I dropped the name. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, I hope so too. Like, I'm really excited for it, actually.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Because I got to play as well, right?
30 pages. Yeah, of course you do.
Because I don't play that often, so whenever I get to play instead of DM, is always quite something special, and I don't have to think as much.
That's true as well. You do have to take a lot of notes, because I'm one of those DMs like lore. It's all remember, and it's all important.
That's fine. That's I like that too, but just some laid back.
Yeah.
Like that's quite fun as well.
Playing is more chill than the DMing, of course. Yeah. I'm already getting started with the writing. I'm doing it very slowly, trying to like slowly work towards that the start of that period. I have my like main plot down, and I'm currently making interactive maps for you on World Anvil to not sponsored, to look at and explore my world. And quite excited to finally have a proper campaign, like a long lasting.
Yeah, like a big one that you can just pick stuff from, and even if they're just single adventures, you still have a huge world to tap from, essentially.
I'm thinking it's going to be about 40 to 50 sessions. I want to play from level 1 to 20, and then like have several sort of campaigns that you'll be doing throughout. You know what I mean? Like, you play from 1 to 6. There's one bad guy, one campaign. You know what I mean? And then it's the same characters in the same party. You continue on and then get to the next goal.
Yeah. There's different.
So yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Okay, cool.
As well as starting a new exercise routine. Yeah. And painting Warhammer minis and not having COVID anymore. So yay.
That's
I
good
was
too.
allowed outside the house today.
Well, let's finish this section.
Yes.
For now, the book.
I went on a bit of a little rant there.
That's alright. But just to wrap this up, like, this book is really useful if you want to create shops out of the blue. Then they've got tables for both the shop and the NPCs as well as items.
So does the DMG, but that's ass.
Yeah, this is
And no one
way
uses
more expensive. Just general, like, what is a shop? How does it run? Why is it located here? What is its history or currency? Who worked there and why? As well as like the fun player-operated store, where as a player chooses, like, I want to sell stuff, and the DM's like, well, alright, no idea how I'm going to do this, but this gives you all the options, all the information on what is suitable in a 5th edition store or shop that the player can just run.
That's awesome. By the way, I do have to quickly mention this. We are not sponsored by any of these books.
No.
When we do these segments, it's purely because we enjoy those books and we want to help support them and share the word.
Yeah, we're just enthusiastic because we use
We're not
this
affiliated,
stuff.
but we're really, we're enthusiastic fans. Even though we'd like to be sponsored. But yeah, that's totally, just a quick disclaimer there.
Yeah. Just know, like, if you're an experienced DM, you probably already know. But if you're just starting out, you don't need all this stuff, all these books.
No, this is for us who spend way too much money and get way too many books, and then
there's no
get into a new hobby,
shelf.
and then I do have a social life actually, quite rare, I know, but
D&D is my social life.
Yeah, too bad we play like one session a month, but that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
If that even.
Yeah. But that's the book.
Yeah.
Did you have any other announcements? Because if you don't, I do.
Yeah, just that I'm COVID free, and I've been working on some Warhammer minis, and it's been real fun. Slowly working through the command box, and that's about it, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just a pretty laid back week for you, because you didn't.
No, it's been a hectic week, but in a different way.
In a different way.
Hectic.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a hectic month. Start of this entire year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I always try to remain optimistic.
I'm optimistic, alright. I'm just busy as fuck.
Well, in that case, we will continue right on this way to. Have you seen The Witcher season 2 in its entirety yet?
Yes, I have.
Alright, yeah, me too. So, production has also started for season 3 now.
Oh my god, oh yay, oh my god, oh.
Or at least they've
continue.
been scouting locations.
My house, do it my house. I want to meet Henry Cavill, do it my house.
Well, there were a bunch of forests that looked quite similar to where we live. It's not the same forest, obviously, but
it should be.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, maybe, hit me up.
So well, as for now, season 3 is a go. So far. So yeah, that's quite exciting. I liked season 2. It was a lot more straightforward. It was a lot more political intrigue.
Yes, I like political intrigue.
Yeah, with the different factions moving, and then of course Geralt, Ciri, and Yennefer.
Moving in between them.
Yeah, weaving in between them with some cool characters. that got their own part in the spotlight. Some recurring characters. Like, what's your favorite new character of this season?
New character? It had to be either Vesemir or Lambert. I think Lambert, because he's awesome. He's cool looking. He's kind of like sort of like a dad figure for Ciri in the way that he is when.
Well, more of the creepy or the like vulgar
no,
uncle.
The cool
yeah.
uncle. Yeah, shows up on birthdays, gives you $300, gets on the plane to Nicaragua and leaves.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's kind of the cool uncle of Ciri. I think that's awesome. And but Vesemir is always cool. Like, he's always cool. Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
He's just cool.
He definitely got.
That's the.
Like
that's my
at the start,
there.
he was quite optimistic, and by the end, he was like pretty depressed because
But
he didn't get his way really, and because he
the
just wants
characters have
more
been
witches.
Quite refreshing.
Like, he's
in the
quite
ones.
lonely, I guess, in that regard.
Hello, Evan.
What would you say?
Hello.
Well, I think I lost you there for a second. I can't hear you.
Technical difficulties, technical difficulties, technical difficulties, technical difficulties. Gotta love him. Hello.
Hello again.
Yes, hello.
My internet just took a nosedive.
Oh Christ. Yes, but it's back.
It's back. I'm not sure if you
Yay.
were talking.
I know, I don't know. I said like Lambert school and then Vesemir school and then there was a pause and then yeah. But we're back now. We're all alive and in
we're
one
good,
piece.
we're
I
stable.
think, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah.
Well, I was saying I think that Vesemir did quite a character development, even at this age. Like, he was, Carol turns up with Ciri, he gets a bit more in the grandfather role, maybe. And then he discovers that she, of course, has this power, the elder blood. And he gets all exciting, like, oh, new witchers. Like, he's happy, he's quite lonely.
New drugging new kids. Woo!
Yeah, but he just wants more witchers because that's what he grew up with. That's his thing. Like, he takes care of those of the boys, and they just go their own way again. So, and then of course it gets all taken away, which I can understand. That's quite a sad moment for him.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
So Lambert of Vesemir is your favorite character?
Yeah, Lambert of Vesemir.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah, Lambert of Vesemir, and I really like the. I forgot his name, but it's been a while. The Nilfgaardian general guy. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And I'm of course. Well, he isn't new, but Jaskier. I am deeply in love with him in a totally friendly way.
Yeah. I have to say, I liked him a lot more this season than last season.
Oh yeah, much more. In last season he was funny, but he was just kind of this annoying ass bug flying around Geralt, and now he's like his own character.
His own character, a
interesting.
bit more sarcastic and cynical, and I quite like that. And he plays it well, so.
Joey Beatty, he's super funny as well.
Yeah.
Out of character, so he's like the perfect fit in my opinion for Jaskier, much like Geralt is, like Henry Cavill is for Geralt.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually quite liked Dijkstra.
Dijkstra.
the
Oh God,
Redanian
no.
like intelligence officer.
I didn't really get his character. I thought he was, I don't know. I kind of just, I enjoyed the whole politics part, but I didn't really fully understand it, to be honest.
I like how he's basically just the mastermind of Redania. Because
that's kinda
the king is obviously too busy just doing his own
Looking
thing.
at himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he
In the mirror.
he definitely has more knowledge than he lets on. And that's
Yeah.
quite an interesting character in that regard. And he never really like engages in any combat, except for that one in the beginning, where he kills
when
those
he-
assassins.
When he bodies two people.
Yeah. So
Drink it. Drink it, you pussy. Come on.
he is definitely capable and he knows his stuff. And I think we're going to see a lot more of him next season. Obviously because of his of the owl, Philippa.
I think he might be the main bad guy apart from the Wild Hunt. So I think like for Geralt and Ciri, they're gonna start fighting the Wild Hunt, and then like Yennefer, she's gonna fight Dijkstra. That's just what I'm
That's your
predicting
guess?
now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my guess.
Interesting. Because Dijkstra is a bit of a mental case. In one of the
Yes.
scenes he was just like schizophrenic or something. Just talking to himself a bit crazy.
Aren't we all?
So
he
has issues, but he still keeps it cool whenever he needs to.
Yeah.
So really, like versatile character. That I hope we're going to see a lot more of. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying he's gonna be the big bad guy, but yeah.
yeah. So the Wild Hunt is properly
maybe-
teased as well at the end.
Yeah. And isn't Emir like as well, like the
Yeah.
Emperor dude?
Yeah. The series
So
actual
yeah,
father.
I think like the three main bad guys will probably be Emir, and then like Dijkstra and the Wild Hunt.
Yeah.
Or they
Definitely.
save the Wild Hunt for season 4 and then just keep it to like politics and war for this season.
Yeah, I'm not sure when the Wild Hunt comes in because they have been properly teasing him this season. So if they're going to continue teasing next season, it's maybe a bit deterring for for a couple of hardcore Witcher fans.
Yeah, but doesn't like the Wild Hunt show up at the beginning of Witcher 3?
Yeah, they do. I'm
So
not
that's
sure the
kinda
beginning again, but they do show up at some
iffy.
point.
Yeah. Like Geralt dreams that Ciri's dead, and in the mannequin or the mannequin, like the I don't know, like the target thing.
Which one?
In the beginning of The Witcher 3, then Geralt imagines like Ciri's dead or he's sleeping or something. I don't remember. It's been a while.
I can't quite remember either.
Then Ciri's corpse is inside a fighting dummy.
Right.
And then the Wild Hunt's there, like, spooky, oh no, your daughter's gonna die.
Oh, I think I do remember now. It like his dream where you play the tutorial essentially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one.
Right.
I believe you had some questions prepared.
Yeah, I had some other fun stuff for questions. So yeah,
Yes.
the Witcher, quite exciting. Liked season 2. Excited for season
so
3.
did I. Yes.
Yes. So I have 2 like discussion points that I'd like to have your opinion on. So one of them
Okay.
we talked briefly about last week. In your convergence setting.
Yes.
So dwarves, right?
It's called Erandor. That's the world.
Around
And like Convergence is the campaign within the world.
right. Yeah. So
But you can call it what you want. I don't care.
you understand what I talk about. But dwarves in your world,
Yes.
they're like different than your typical dwarf.
Yeah. I base their culture and, well, not necessarily their language. A bit maybe.
Yeah, so that's
But
the
I
thing
built, like,
I actually wanted to get into. So I found
Yeah.
someone who posted like this discussion point. What is your opinion on dwarves that don't speak with a Scottish accent? Like, what other options could there
my
be?
my dwarves speak with a Arabic accent.
Yeah, like that.
So
That's an interesting.
yeah, I think it's cool because it's different. First of all, and I don't call them dwarves. I call them Urgir, Urgir. And yeah, they do live in mountains, but they also live above ground in like these sort of Middle Eastern sandstone villages, and they trade a lot, and they're technologically quite advanced compared to the rest of Erandor.
Yeah.
But I base their culture and sort of their social, well, more of like they have a sultan, and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that's what I based on the Arabic world, and maybe like the Ottoman Empire, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, that's interesting because that doesn't usually, or at least in mainstream, you don't hear about dwarves in a different setting.
No, because I think people have gotten so used to dwarves being drunken Scottish people that but I wanted to spice it up, try something new, and like I do with all my races. Suppose they are like classic fantasy, but I do try to put my own spin on it, so it stays interesting for players and for people who read my lore.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. So, what other settings for dwarves do you think would suit?
That's a good one.
So, looking at our own planet to take inspiration from. Like, what would suit a dwarf?
I think like they would suit like the like northern Native Americans. So like the Inuit and stuff.
Yeah, I can see that.
As in, I don't know why. I think that would suit them very well. Maybe it's like the whole cold north mountain thing, but
or just small stature that you don't need to build as big.
Living in like smaller huts in the north, mining on the ice surface.
Ooh, ice miners, like the special type of hardened ice that they use as spear points.
Oh, actually, I have that in my lore as well.
Okay.
I don't know.
Don't have to spoil as much as you want.
No. I don't remember what I called it because I wrote about it like 2 years ago, but it's this special type of ice that the troll people in the north, they mine that. It never melts unless it makes contact with lava, with like fire and sun and stuff. It can't melt it.
Right.
And yeah, they use it to build certain things, and they use it for magic and weaponry because it's super sharp if you sharpen it right. So their axes are all like sort of glassy, made from ice, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just something I did.
That's that's a cool type of material, like ice.
Yeah.
Especially if it can be destroyed somehow.
It can be destroyed with like lava, or more so like you can, I'd say, if you use like corruptive energy or like radiant energy, you can destroy it as well, because that stuff like radiant necrotic literally attacks beings at their very core, whereas like fire and lightning, that's more elemental. And the ice, it only really melts from like lava, that type of heat, and like radiant and necrotic and stuff like that.
Yeah, but they can like chip it into a shape.
Oh yeah, you can cut it and stuff. It acts like normal ice, but when you have it in the shape you want, you can. It's a certain type of magic that the people in the north use, and you can harden it, and you can literally like freeze the magic, if you know what I mean. And then
like temper
it hardens, and it becomes kind of like obsidian, like almost unbreakable. And they use it in their weapons and in their like furniture. They have like ice tables and stuff. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, No, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'd like to get my hands on some of that.
Well, it's hella expensive.
All right. Yeah.
But,
well, I can see. I can see it's
there's a lot
expensive
of it,
if
but
it
they
comes
use a lot
from
of it for
the
themselves.
high north.
Yeah, and those people aren't traders either, they're raiders, so
Right. Yeah.
if they would trade it for you, it's probably to trade it for some slaves or some weapons.
Well, I gotta get my hands on some slaves then.
Yeah, go go to, I don't know, go to some of the battlefields in my world and just go yoink some people.
Yeah, just rescue them, and then they are indebted to you.
Congrats, you're rescued. Please do not resist.
Yeah.
I'm going to sell you off for special ice to keep my drinks cool forever. And you're going to be indebted in slavery.
But it is
Good luck.
it is actually gold at all times.
It is gold, but not like you get stuck to it cold.
Right. Just yeah.
It can be, but like that's
Not like unnaturally cold for.
no. It just feels sort of like ice, but you can use magic to, once again, like I said, you can harden it, but you can also decrease or increase its temperature. Not by a lot, but like you can make it like room temperature or like frostbite inducingly cold. So for example, if you have like an axe that you want to make out of this ice, then you imbue it with the magic that makes it super stiff and unbreakable pretty much, and then you make it like frostbite inducingly cold, so it deals slashing damage and frostbite damage, or like cold damage.
Right. Okay.
So those people are pretty dangerous, but only like the elites have those weapons. So the Skyjactor, the sea hunters, they have those weapons, but you shouldn't worry, because those people only really raid around the northern coast, and that's not where you're going.
Okay, cool. Well, if I ever come across such an item in at a trader's store, like I know that
Huzzah!
at least it's very unique or fake.
It is. Or fake, yeah, but then it'd probably be glass, and you're like, this is glass. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, if I don't roll natural one or a critical fail.
I roll that differently. It's like it looks like glass. I mean, it feels like glass. It could still be that thing, but you don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can also get a flamethrower or like a hand cannon if you want.
Ooh.
The Urgir, the dwarves, they have like this special sort of crystal that grows in the deserts, and they use it to make advanced technologies, kind of like
an energy crystal, you mean?
Yeah, it's like an energy crystal, and it's imbued with the magic of the goddess Meline, which is the goddess of crafting, architecture, and
right, yeah,
stuff like that. So making things from things, you know.
Yeah,
that's her whole gig, and they worship her as the Metal Queen, and she is like the main goddess, the leader of the. Yeah, so that's the most important goddess, is what I'm trying to say. And she imbued these like crystals with her magic, and scattered them across the desert where these dwarves live, and they used them for like stuff like night vision goggles and stuff. They have some pretty advanced technology.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to see some of that technology.
So don't speak up against the Sultan, or he's gonna send a fully equipped squad of dwarves with M4s and night vision to your house.
But are they relatively friendly?
Oh yeah, they're focused on their own wealth, but they will cooperate with the humans, and you can find them all over Ronera, the central human kingdom.
Right.
They are quite secretive about their technology. Sharing the technology is kinda illegal, but you can get it on the black market.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's their stuff is in. It's all around. Like everyone is using it, or at least those that can afford it.
No, they're using it. Only them. They will not sell it to anyone, except if you have like some Orgir that doesn't really care about tradition. Then he's just gonna go yoink some weapons from his homeland, go to Almeria, the capital of the human kingdom, and sell a bunch of guns.
Okay.
So yeah, the guns aren't. There are guns, and they use fire powder, and it's basically muskets and standard issue
Yeah.
cannons. But like the really advanced energy weapons that the Urgir have, it's not like Star Wars, but they shoot like energy from the crystals. They're only really in the hands of those Urgir.
Right. Okay. Cool. Sounds
Edward
interesting.
Lore episode. Woo.
Yeah. So, do you want to hear the final discussion point that I found?
Yes, go ahead.
It's maybe a bit more abstract, and like we can be done with it in a couple minutes, or we can talk about it for another 2 hours. Would you consider animation to be a better medium to convey fantasy than live action?
That's a really good one.
Yeah, it's quite deep.
It depends. Yeah, it really depends. If you...
Yeah, so what I thought, like,
Yeah.
either is fine as long as it's done well. But you can say that about almost anything.
Yeah, of course, that's logical, but I don't think one or the other is better, but I do think both have advantages and disadvantages.
Of course.
I think conveying emotion in animation is more difficult than it is through live action.
Yeah, like facial
And I
expressions,
think-
that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and immersion I think could be or is more difficult in animation than live action. But in live action, you have the disadvantages of like you have constraints to what people can do. So for example, in an animation, if you want to have a character jump off a roof, then you just have to
can do
animate
so.
that.
Yeah.
If you want to have live action somebody jump off a roof, you need a mat, you need a stunt team, you need safety people, sorry.
Yeah, or you CGI it and it doesn't look as like
Yeah.
old
So
school as fantasy should be.
Yeah, so if it is done like The Lord of the Rings, which is very high budget and a lot of care, a lot of love, a lot of traveling.
Yeah, but there's
And,
also a lot of like actual stuff, actual locations, not just green screen, just an actual ring, actual swords, like that. That's
Yeah, that's what I mean. If it's real high budget and you get everything, looking real, feeling immersive, then yeah, that's amazing. And on the other hand, animations can be, I suppose, cheaper than movies or like fantasy live action. But
yeah, maybe a little bit.
yeah, maybe a little bit. But I mean, it seems cheaper for me. I don't know much about it, but what I'm guessing is that it's cheaper for an animator to draw somebody jumping off a roof, like I said before, than it is
Right.
for a film crew to get a stunt double, to get a mat, get all the safety stuff done,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And it's also easier because with the sorry, I still have a bit of a throat thing from COVID. So with the animation, it is easier to get characters to do stuff. You can draw something, and maybe you have to draw it a couple times, but it's done. And with actors, you have to do several takes, and actors need to go on breaks, and actors need to do this and this and that. With animation, like the only people that are really like present are like the people who do sound, voice acting, and the animation itself, and like script writers and like managers. But with the live action, it comes with a ton more people, what I'm guessing,
Yeah.
purely based on what I like kind of know about the subject.
Yeah.
That so both have advantages and disadvantages, and
But that's
I don't think either one is better.
Yeah, that's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. But what about the medium itself to convey a fantasy setting, for instance? Like,
Then I think live action is better.
yeah, I think
I do think
That's-
that because it's more immersive, feels more real.
yeah, it's a
real
lot close
people.
to stuff that you know, like a house you visited or a forest that you've walked through. In animation,
Yeah.
that's a bit harder to really feel related to.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose that's true. And the thing is as well with animation, sometimes everything feels kind of blended for me when I'm watching an animation. Like I focus on the characters and then there's just grass and like sky. But with live action, there's so much going on because it's the real world.
Yeah, it's all tangible, it's all 3D,
yeah.
It's all interacting with the characters and the characters with it.
And I think the emotion part is kind of important in fantasy.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's easier to convey that through live action and animation.
Yeah, I do think that...
Not saying it's impossible or that it's difficult, I'm just saying like it's easier for real people to show real emotions or show emotion than it is for animations to show emotion.
Yeah, animation does rely
by those emotions
on other factors to heighten or to show emotion, like different...
Yeah, like soundtrack.
Yeah, or just visuals,
stuff like that.
visual stuff, visual aid, like a tear rolling down their cheek that's really like large. Just to give an example, like to really show that they are sad. But I do think with animation, you can do a lot more transformative stuff. So, like in the literal sense, like a character transforming into a monster. Like that's way
much
more
easier.
easier and cooler looking than if you would completely CGI it, because then it would just look fake.
Yeah, that's true. But what I do think, like for example in The Witcher, where they do the costuming of the monsters and stuff, that is really good. Like people.
It is.
Yeah, I don't know, changing and stuff. It is, but that's what I'm saying. Like it's high budget and it's a lot of care put into it. I think, and with Lord of the Rings as well, like the orc masks and the orc armor. That's way better than, let's say, for example, the CGI orcs that they use in The Hobbit, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So it really depends on how the live action or animations do it, but if they properly execute it, then I think they don't really.
So you'd say like
it doesn't really matter.
The how to put it, like if an live action fantasy is done well, it's better than an animation that's also done well. So if like
I'm
if
not
to
saying
say
that in a factual way, but I'm more so saying that that's my preference.
Yeah, now that's what I mean, like preference.
Yeah, it's my preference because it's for me it's easier to relate to real people than to cartoons or animations.
So
and another thing I wanted to ask you is let's say you're watching a fantasy story of like the standard movie length, so 1.5 to 2 hours. What do you prefer, animation or movie, or like live action movie?
Doesn't matter what type of story necessarily.
Fantasy. Let's just stick to that.
I don't think I would mind either, really, to watch for a longer time as a feature-length movie. Like,
but which one would you prefer? They're both equally, like, properly made. But just basically just choosing between animation for 2 hours or a live action for 2 hours.
Well, I think also live action then, in that case.
Yeah.
Like, just because it's more relatable, maybe, as it's played in the real world with actual people.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of versatility you can do with live action, more than you can do so with animation, in my opinion. Like, not just the CGI element in live action, but also miniature stuff that you can use, or like masks that you mentioned from the orcs.
Yeah,
there's
like
a lot
the
of
beautiful
real stuff.
Beautiful Finnish rendition of Hobbiton.
Yeah, and even animation in live action But if you do it the other way around, like live action in animation, like an element, it doesn't really work. Unless it's like
that's
super
true.
meta, which animation in actual live action is also kind of meta. But it's a lot easier to incorporate that way.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think there's a lot of space for fantasy filmmakers to use different types of media, or to have different types of stuff they can use to elevate this world. As for animation, it's really just animation that they can use to create this world. But like, I'm not biased necessarily. Like, animation is still super well made.
Yeah, true. Like the Witcher animation, for example, Nightmare of the Wolf. Have you watched that yet?
Yeah, we
On
talked
Netflix?
about it in the previous
we
episode.
did. Yeah, that's like a classic example for me of animation done really, really well. An Avatar, like this TV show as well.
Yeah.
And also, the Critical Role show, the Vox Machina show.
Yeah, I haven't watched it because I haven't watched Critical Role.
Me neither.
As D&D fans,
I've
like, we're
heard
probably
a lot of
hurting a lot of people. But
rioting in the streets right now, but
I know what it's...
yeah, I
but
haven't watched Critical Role either. It's too much for me. As in, like,
lengthwise.
it already feels so grounded and stuff, and I don't really feel like I'm a part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and even going
it feels
back
too,
to watch...
It feels too big to get started with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what I have to. It's so big now that, like, getting started halfway through is basically not an option if you really want to catch all the in jokes or like setting and character, like, establishments.
And understand the lore and stuff. I'm probably still gonna watch the show because it's fantasy and it's funny.
And I think it's also standalone, in some way.
Yeah, it's a standalone story, I think, as well. But yeah, I agree with you. It's a bit too much to get into, but I'd still enjoy the show probably, and I still think it's awesome, a Critical Role, but I just have not watched it.
Yeah.
So
True. And we can always get into Japanese animation. Like, that's a whole nother topic.
I'm good.
Like, there's some good stuff, but there's also a lot of trash.
There's a lot of trash, yes.
Yeah. But the good stuff is really good.
Yeah, it's a matter of extremes, really.
Yeah, kind of.
I watch a lot of anime, but I don't anymore because I don't have time. And yeah, I have several hobbies that require my attention, as well as actually being a functioning member of society. So yeah, takes a lot of time, man.
Yeah, being a nerd is hard work, man. Like,
yeah, it is.
Geez.
God, I have to work so hard from behind my desk writing about imaginative people that don't exist but only in my head.
True.
It's called schizophrenia. Shut up. It's not.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what goes on around inside that mind of yours.
Edward's head is a funny place. But
bet.
yeah, we can dedicate an entirely new podcast to my mind.
So
and
yeah.
its inner workings.
Yeah. So, as some of you might know, next week Friday, the 25th of February, it is time for Elden Ring.
Yes.
I'm so extremely hyped, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I hope it pays off. I've played a little bit.
I'm sure it'll be great.
During the network test. It's like this test event where you got to play the game for a while, a couple times. And yeah, just play around, try some online stuff for the developers to see if their servers are running.
Yeah.
But and Edward agrees with this, that next week, because Elden Ring is coming out, we're going to do an episode that is mostly dedicated to From Software's games, so that means Dark Souls mainly.
I am gonna be replaying Dark Souls for a bit then, just to get back into it.
Yeah, or just watch some Vati Vidya videos. You got a lot of Dark Souls lore. But you've played a bit of Dark Souls 3, or quite some of it?
I don't remember where I left off, but I did quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah, so that's definitely the game that we will probably talk about the most because you know it too. But we might.
And it's also in the channel name.
Yeah, connections.
Because I love. It's Hawthorne, right?
Hawkwood.
Hawkwood, yeah. It's been like almost 6 months since I played it, but it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, I'll play it again.
And if you want to cut off the conversation about Dark Souls next week, then that's fine too. Like, I don't mind. Like, I can talk too much about it anyway.
No, that's fine.
But
I usually just go into these episodes with some things I want to say, but then I'm like, yeah, I said them. Now we can talk about nonsense like grenades and Arabic dwarves.
Yeah,
and,
or Gollum's crusty sock.
Ice beans. God, we are starting to build a repertoire. All right.
Well, yeah. So
I'm gonna end it here.
Yeah, next week, watch out for that. Do you like From Software's games? That's going to be the next episode.
Yes. And make sure to watch our reaction videos we uploaded of the Finnish show Hobbitit. If I'm pronouncing that right, I hope I am. It's a super cursed, funny show of the Finnish rendition of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it's from 1993.
And, and it's old and it's creepy and
it's brilliant.
Gollum gives me nightmares. It's brilliant at the same time, and Hobbiton looks like a drug favela. So yeah, that's kind of the whole vibe of the show.
Yeah.
So yeah, go check that out. It's on the channel.
Yeah, absolutely.
And stick around for next week. And I'd like to thank you all for listening, taking the time out of your day to spend some time with us. Yes, do all that stuff.
Comment if you
because I'll come to your house and threatening your viewers. And thank you all for listening. Bye bye.
Bye bye. See ya.